I'm reading Adam Savage's book, Every Tool's a Hammer, and I wanted to read a quote from the book. As a boy, he had a stuffed animal, and he took some brown paper, laid the animal, traced it, and then he tells the story of how he went into his father's shop and got a razor blade as a young boy at 5 and cut it out. And this is what I wanted to read to you. Here's the thing about stuffed animal talismans that became obvious once I finally had kids of my own. They are objects that are separate from you, but they also are you. They are both sponge and mirror. They are projection. The adventures you take them on narratively are your adventures. Upon them you project all the things you want for yourself and that you like about yourself and what you don't like about yourself. They are your world. It turns out that's exactly how I treated Jingle, that's the name of the bear, because what I added was a nifty blue vest, a snazzy belt, and a gold buckle, and a Superman symbol on his chest for good measure. Why? Well, these were clearly the things I wanted for myself. I wanted a superhero. I wanted to, I don't know. He goes on to say. But the thing about that quote that I liked was the things that we create, the things that he created, are sponge and mirror. And so during the quarantine, I have made several things over the past, I guess, 60 days. And when I came across that quote, it just kind of really was interesting because I feel like that just like he was projecting certain things onto that stuffed animal, and if you watch kids will do that too. They'll take an inanimate object and they'll project themselves onto that. They become the superhero, they become the villain, they become whatever it is, and they project out of themselves what it is that they're doing. They're pretending. And so I think that we also do that as adults when we put our hands to tasks, when we create things and make things. They become sponge and mirror for us. We project those things outward. It's the act of creating, the act of making. And so I wanted to just first off share a couple of things that I have made. So the first thing is a foraging pouch. So this it's made out of leather. It has a belt loop. So you would put this on your belt like this. And then whenever you are foraging and gathering, you would undo the snap, open up it's made out of duck canvas. You'd open it up, put your stuff in there. There's a drawstring with a cinch. And when you're done, it just folds back up, rolls back up, and it snaps back. So that was the first thing that I made. And this was probably early on in quarantine. Those are just out of scraps that I had. And then the next thing that I made was a lunch bag made out of duck canvas. So basically you would put your lunch in there. There's a Velcro right there, Velcro on the top. You roll it over, you've got a lunch bag. It's made out of duck canvas. I made a couple of versions of it. Here's a brown version, red version. So then, of course, this also has I learned how to do a French cleat, which I don't know if you can see that, but it actually helps to create a spine for the bag to hold itself up, whatever. All right, so also the next thing that I made was a bag, same idea, cinch top, out of duck canvas. I put a leather bottom on it, put your stuff in there. The idea would be that you put camping, food, whatever that might be. I was looking at the potential of buying a smaller camping pots and stoves and stuff like that, and that would go in there. So, but it's round, So it was kind of the challenge of sewing something round. Then that went to a DOP bag, or a dope bag, DOPP bag. It's put your toothbrush, toothpaste, toiletry bag in there. So it has a leather handle with copper rivets to hold the handle. It has a brass zipper. First time I'd ever sewn a zipper. On the inside, it's lined with Auburn fabric. Toothbrush, toothpaste, whatever. And then I took otter wax and put otter wax on the outside. And then later I tested it to see if it was waterproof. It's not. And there's actually no wax that come out of otters, just so you know. Then the next project that I worked on was for a Boy Scout project. This goes inside of a chuck box, and so I had probably a drawer, 2-3 drawers in my chuck box that you would pull out that would have utensils and spatulas and all that kind of stuff that you would cook with on a camping trip. But it was aggravating because they were always just kind of in disarray. So I took a pattern from an old utensil roll like this that we had in our troop. And so you take this, fold this out, you take these brass rivets, and you hang it on the side of the chuck box, and then you've got all your stuff. So it's got pockets and little things that you put your stuff in. Spatulas, egg turners, apple corers, you name it, whatever you might need. I made a couple other things. This was not something that I made during quarantine, but I made it a while back. But it has a leather strap. You open it up, has a brass ring. It opens up, kind of the same thing. It's kind of like a tool roll, but for spoons and forks for camping trips and such. So I had made that a while back, but so if we go back to the idea of the sponge and mirror and the creative part of kind of what we're doing, as I kind of got all this kind of stuff out of my system. It had kind of been building up for a while, and I just haven't been able to make anything for a little while. So once I started doing it, I came across that quote, and it kind of hit me like, why is it that I'm making the things that I'm making? Have you ever asked yourself that question? So like during quarantine, I'm sure those of you that love to sew or paint or whatever it is that you're doing, you've chosen some kind of topic or material to work with, or you've chosen to do something during this time of quarantine. Why is it that you've chosen to do that thing that you've chosen? And so for me, I was just it kind of hit me that I needed to kind of sit back and ask the question, why is it that I'm building things? And so just from looking at them, it's there's a part of me that I love the journey. I love skills to be able to do things, like just the idea of going on a journey and being able to handle anything that I encounter along the journey. So I learned skills to help do that. And so I don't know why, I've just always enjoyed doing that. Part of me that loves the challenge of the unknown, of kind of doing things I've never tried or done before, constantly trying to do something new, something that challenges me. I think that's kind of an idea. So the theme that I kind of see through the things that I'm making is that there's travel, tool rolls and DOP bags and lunch bags. All of that deals with movement or travel or going somewhere. I kind of came across that. Sustaining, making it through, I think deals with it. So take a moment. I just want to encourage you just to take a moment and evaluate what your hands have been doing during the time of quarantine, and why is it that you think you've chosen that thing to do? Make that thing or create that thing, work on that thing. Why did you do that? And then I think the things that we make and do are a sponge and mirror of what's going on in our hearts. Like what is it that that we're projecting out onto these things that we create? Why did I create Adopt Back? I have my two boys are going to college in just a couple of months. My daughter is driving. She'll turn 16 very shortly, and she'll be driving. My son Isaac just turned 13. He's now a teenager. So all of my whole family is in time of transition. We're all up in everything's been turned upside down, and so I put my hands to making something that would just somehow try to create organization, some way to grasp or handle the thing that's just going on. And it might be that thing that you've tried to make or create that you probably won't even share with anybody, that you just have in your house or in your living room or in a tub somewhere, that that you've done and you love to do it, and it just has come out of you. And so just my encouragement is to just take a few minutes, spend some time in meditation and prayer, read some Bible scripture, and try to figure out, why is it that I've made these things? What is my heart trying to project, trying to get out? I wanted to just read a little passage of scripture. It's from through this past little while, I've been reading through the book of Mark. And in Mark chapter So during the quarantine, I've been reading through the book of Mark, and in Mark chapter 6, verse 30, Jesus feeds the 5,000. So the apostles returned to Jesus and told him all that they had done, and he said, come away by yourselves to a desolate place. And while they were going, they had no leisure even to eat, and they went away in a boat, and the crowd basically followed them. And then the disciples are saying, we need to send these people away. They're hungry. There's no way for us to feed them. In verse 35, and when it grew late, his disciples came to him and said, this is a desolate place, and the hour is now late. Send them away to go into the surrounding countryside and villages to buy themselves something to eat. And he answered them, you give them something to eat. And he said to them, shall we go and buy 200 denarii? That's like a lot of money, worth of bread, and give them something to eat. And he said to them, how many loaves do you have? And they said, 5 loaves and 2 fish. And we know that he went on to feed them. And then it says, and they all ate and were satisfied, and they took up 12 basketfuls full of broken pieces and of fish. And those who ate of the loaves were 5,000 people. All right, then 2 chapters later, chapter 8. And in those days, when again a great crowd had gathered, and they had nothing to eat, he calls his disciples and he says, I have compassion on the crowd, because they have been with me now 3 days and have nothing to eat. And if I send them away hungry to their homes, they're going to faint on the way, and some of them have come far away. And his disciples answered him, how can one feed these people with bread here in this desolate place? And he answered them, how many loaves do you have? And he goes on to feed 4,000 people with loaves and fish. And then it goes on to say, there were about and they had ate and were satisfied, and they took up broken pieces left over, 7 basketfuls. Then they get on a boat, and they are traveling, and then they've realized that they've had all this bread, but they forgot it, and they don't have anything. Verse 14, chapter 8. Now when they had forgotten to bring bread, and they had only had 1 loaf with them in the boat, and he cautioned them, saying, watch out, beware of the leaven, the Pharisees. And they start arguing about the bread. I can't believe we forgot the bread. It was your fault. You were supposed to grab it. I thought you were going to get it. All this kind of stuff. And Jesus, aware of this, said, why are you discussing the fact that you have no bread? Do you not yet perceive or understand? Are your hearts hardened? Having eyes, do you not see? And having ears, do you not hear? And do you not remember when I broke 5 loaves for the 5,000? How many basketfuls of broken pieces did you take up? And they said 12. And the 7 for the 4,000. How many basketfuls of broken pieces did you take up? And they said 7. And he said to them, do you not yet understand? Don't you get it? So God has done a miracle. He did the exact same miracle again. And they're asking the question of, how are we going to eat? But he's just fed all these thousands of people. And they said, we don't have any bread. How are we going to do this? I just think there's some things that God does in our lives that sometimes we just forget. We don't perceive it. We see it, and then we see it again, and then we see it again, and we just don't get it. We don't perceive it. And so there's a part of my nature that is a creative type thing. I have to get it out. I love to do it. I make different things, wood, metal, canvas, whatever. But I don't ever stop to ask or perceive, why is it that I'm doing this, and for what purpose, and what is it about my nature that's desiring for me to do this. And I think God's trying to teach me something, but I'm hard-headed. And so my thought for today is just to take a few minutes and sit down and just say, for the past 2 months, we've been in our houses and we've been doing things. Just ask the question, why is it that I am doing these things? And Lord, what are you trying to teach me or show me about myself and about the world? Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.